Hi and welcome back to the channel. This time around you join me in disassembling and reassembling my Hope F20 pedals.
Something like this.
The reason for me taking my Hope F20 pedals apart is because the face lip seal on both pedals has perished and fallen off. The lip seal basically goes between the inside face of the pedal itself and the spindle of the pedal, just to stop the ingress of grit, dust, water, whatever you're riding through. I don't want that getting in there because then the bearings are going to be the next thing, and I want to do a bit of preventative maintenance on these pedals. I have ordered two brand new pedal face lip seals. Okay, only little things, just got them online. Also, when you take these pedals apart, there are two M5 nyloc nuts in there, which people say you should replace them upon reassembly. I've got two brand new nylocs in there, again just ordered online. If you are going to use the old nylocs, they just might need a bit more of a tighten up than what they would from new. However, I've been unsuccessful in finding torque settings for any of the nuts used in these pedals. Tools that I have here, I've got an 8mm Allen key, a 6mm Allen key. I have got an 8mm socket. Now, Hope sell one which will actually fit inside the body of the pedal to undo that M5 nyloc nut. Can be anywhere up to about £10 to purchase. All I did was I got an old socket from an old socket set, just a cheap socket set, stuck it on a little extension bar, put that into the chuck of my drill, spun the drill so it was turning towards myself whilst I was holding a file on there. 10 minutes later I've ended up with something that actually fits and I'm thinking it's going to do the job. I have got a torque wrench here, even though I can't find any torque settings for these pedals. I've had a quick look just before setting up for this video, and what I've done is I've actually set the torque at its lowest. I've gone to tighten the bolts that yet have to be loosened, and I think I know roughly what the torque in Newton meters needs to be. I think that's pretty much it. Let's crack on. Right, I'm going to be starting with the right hand pedal. Obviously it doesn't matter which one you start with. If you're doing both, if you're doing bearing changes on them or something, they're both going to need to be done. So right, first off, we've got a little cap here. I don't know if you can see that in there. Yeah, I think you probably can. Just this little silver one by my finger. It's got a little rubber O-ring, like a little seal on it, which seals the outside of the pedal from the elements. We're going to get that out of the way first. So what we're going to need for that is a 6mm Allen key. Literally pop that in there and undo it. Okay, when you pull the Allen key out, you won't be able to pull that cap through, so that's just going to have to come out from the pedal itself like that. Keep that to one side. Do one pedal at a time, guys. You don't want parts getting mixed up, because, well, they probably would, yeah, they would fit, aren't they, because they're not handed threads, but I just like to keep things where they need to be for a specific item. So I'm just doing the right hand pedal. Right, now we need to get in here, can you see that one? That is the M5. That's the M5 one right in there. So that's where we're going to need this special tool, which there we go, remanufactured for this purpose, which will now slide inside that pedal, ready to undo. Now going on the actual torque that I think this nut's done up at, which I think is 4 Newton meters, you can actually undo it without too much force. So I've got that in there ready to go. I'm going to need to undo this one, we're going to need to put the 8mm Allen key into the other end. Now just give that a twist, that will undo by hand. Keep turning that until that comes out. Now you're probably going to find that the nut itself is inside the socket. To get that out, you're just going to need to give it a couple of taps, hopefully. There it is, just fallen out. That one we shouldn't need to be using again, but if you haven't bought new ones, put it in. I'm sure it's just going to work absolutely fine. It's just that people say, use new ones. Right, so now that's undone, we should hopefully be able to slide the pedal off of that spindle. So we just grab the spindle end, there we go, we just pull the pedal out. We've got another rubber seal here. Okay, I'm just going to wipe this all down just so we can see exactly where things are going to be going to. Okay, just going to pull that little rubber seal off of there as well. It has got a little recess in this spindle which I will show you in a minute. Set that to the side. So I'm just going to give this a nice wipe down. Oh, there we go. There's a nice clean spindle there. I don't know if you can see around about here, there's a little recess where that washer comes off from, which I've just taken off. But I need to get my lip seal washer on there. That is the whole purpose of this video, really. So if you look at that lip seal washer, you've got a larger section here and a thinner section here. The larger section is going to go towards the main thread of your pedal that you'd thread into your cranks. So if we slide that one on like that, that's going to push up to this stop, and that is literally on ready to go. The next washer, it doesn't matter which way round you get this one. Sorry, I say washer, I mean seal. So this one's internal. So this one, as I say, it just slide on again and it will go up to that recess just by my finger here. Slide that on. That's it. That's in place. So that's the washer. Why do I keep saying washer, man? So that is the seal assembly. Now if you want to get the bearings out of the pedal just to see how they are doing, grab your 6mm Allen key from the inside face of the pedal where you've got the little stamp which tells you which hand the pedal is, whether it's right hand or left hand. Poke it in from there, go slow, and as you poke it up, all 3 bearings should come out. There's only 3 in there, they're all stacked together, okay? So once you've got them out, you can set the pedal down. Now I really don't think there's any problem with my bearings, but I'm just going to separate them all. Just give them a little spin. I'm holding the inside of the bearing with my thumb and my middle finger here. And I'm just giving it a little spin just to see if I can feel any notches, but that feels smooth. I mean, I've never had any problems with these pedals. I don't ride it loads. I have had the bike these pedals a few years, but I always take good care of my stuff and clean it. This is why I'm changing those seals, because I don't want extra expense, spending about £40, £50, whatever it is, to buy a complete service kit at this stage. But yeah, they feel really smooth and they could probably just go straight back in. Okay, that's pretty much it for the pedal. There is a plain bush in there, which if you're doing a full service, you might have a new bush that you could put in. Judging by the condition of my bearings and the spindle shaft as well, I'm hazarding a guess that my bush is okay in here. I haven't got the tool to remove it safely. There's a specific tool that you can purchase, I believe, that would allow you to get that out, to examine it and maybe put it back in. I could get it out, but I'm going to damage it and I've not got a new one to go in there. So these pedals are running smooth enough before. I don't think there's any problems with that. Okay, before I reassemble, I'm going to use a bit of lithium grease. Make sure the grease that you're using has not got any PTFE in it. Hope recommend the use of lithium grease with these pedals, even though you've got rubber seals. The rubber seals must be absolutely fine with it, as they wouldn't recommend it. So I'm just going to take a little dab of my lithium grease here and stick it between my bearings, just to make sure they've got plenty there to work with. I don't want to be taking these apart anytime soon. Just literally putting some on top of each race, because the bearings, they haven't got any seals in there. You can actually see the ball bearings, but if I put some grease on there, that'll get inside the bearings a little bit as well. And hopefully keep the life of those things as extended as possible. Right, now I've got these 3 bearings here. I need to get them into this hole here where they came from. Apologies, you're not going to be able to see me put that in at that angle, but you can now see them there. Just going to push that flush with my finger. And you can use the 6mm Allen key that you used to get them out with. I've actually just found this in the drawer, which I'm going to push down like that. When they stop moving, they're seated in position, ready to go. Now the next bit I'm going to grease is the spindle itself. Again with that lithium grease, just literally rubbing some around there. Chuck it on the seals as well. Well, yeah, let's get this in the pedal. Okay, so make sure we don't, there we go, that shouldn't be pushing out the bearings. Yeah, that's on. So that's the face lip seal in position there. Okay, which is going to stop all the contaminants getting into the pedals. Just make sure that those bearings are still down. I've got a feeling they may have moved. Yeah, there we go. So they've gone back down. And now it is time to get the nyloc nut on. Grab my modified tool, my 8mm socket. I'm just going to sit the nut just literally on the end of that, like so. Okay, and now if I keep that on its side, push it in, turn it as you go really lightly, and hopefully it's going to bite. There we go, that's done it. Just going to have a quick visual down there just to make sure it's on properly. Yeah, it's gone down to the thread block, sorry, the nyloc part itself. Okay, so now it's time to torque it up. As I say, I couldn't find any torque settings online. When I did it up earlier, I started at 2 Newton meters. It's done its click on the torque wrench. Okay, 3 Newton meters, it done its click. When I hit 4 Newton meters, it turned a very slight amount. So I'm just going to go for 3. When I undone it, I actually did try and undo it with the screwdriver type adapter for this socket, and I could undo it. It wasn't excessively tight at all. Because it's got that nyloc in there, it should not be coming undone. So let's do it to 3 Newton meters. There we go. So that's that bit done. Now when you have done that, you may notice that there is a little bit of play. I can push, you can see that movement there, I can actually push the spindle into the pedal even though that nut's done up. Now to stop that movement, that's what we needed this bit for, which is basically, it's like an end cap type piece which goes on in there where we've been putting the socket, where we put the bearings earlier. So that'll go in there. Grab your 6mm Allen key, just kind of, when it's kind of stops turning freely, just give it a tiny little nip up from there, and that should be absolutely plenty. And there we go, that one is set, hopefully ready for many more moulds. Okay, I am going to continue now and do my other pedal. Change the seal on that. As you can see, it's not actually too difficult. As long as you've got the 8mm socket that's going to fit in, either turn it down yourself in a drill, like I explained earlier, like with a file, or you could just maybe buy one off of the internet if you don't feel like that's your cup of tea. So that's it for me today. Until next time. Tools that I've got here, I've got an 8mm. Tools that I have here, I've got an 8mm. What's wrong with me?